Hi, CaZ here, the Writer Success Coach, bringing you again a few minutes to talk about the 3 P's of writing, successful writing, which are purposeful, productive, and prosperous. Today, our focus is going to be on how you work with rhythm and flow and making what you write, the words you use, interesting to the people who are listening. Hey, Bob, glad to see you. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about this. First of all, I want everyone to recognize that the sorts of things I'm going to talk about here are tips that anyone can use. It doesn't matter whether you are writing a novel, whether you are writing a book for business, whether you're writing an email, okay, or a letter to a friend. Making your words come to life on the page so that the person who's reading them will want to continue reading, that's really an important goal for all writers. So let's talk about, I think I've got 3 tips I want to give you on this today. First of all, sentence length is really important. Now, I am going to talk about how long is too long and how short is too short. But what I really mean about sentence length is breaking up long, complex sentences and also knowing that you've got a rhythm and a flow, okay? For instance, if you have a paragraph where you are saying the same thing in 3 different sentences and every sentence is the same length, it's not going to read well. Break that up. Make a longer one or a shorter one, all right? Another one. Hi, Bethany. Glad to see you. Another example. Here's one I really think is important. I see this a lot in writers who are coming out of academia or who have been writing for business and have a more formal style of writing that they've had to follow. Think about this one. This is a great writing tip. When you are going to write something, if you write a paragraph or a sentence and you can't take a breath while you're reading it aloud, it's too long. Okay, it's a great rule of thumb. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to read this to you. Here's a sentence. Implementing the recommended energy efficiency program will improve the facility's financial position by reducing operating costs, maintain or enhance comfort conditions within the building, and make a positive contribution to the environment by reducing pollutant emissions. I had to take 2 breaths in that. That's way, way, way too complex a sentence. Listen, guys, when you read out loud in your head. So if you're not breathing physically, you're probably not breathing mentally either. So keep that in mind. It is important to break it down. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Here's essentially the same sentence. Implementing the recommended energy efficiency program will improve the financial position in several ways. It will reduce operating costs, maintain or enhance comfort conditions within the building, and make a positive contribution to the environment by reducing pollutant emissions. Now, it's still a complicated sentence, and it's still a hard one to read, but if you notice, there were logical and properly positioned breathing points within the sentence. It's actually 2 sentences now instead of 1. And that is the sort of thing that is really important when you're writing, is to make sure that the flow and the rhythm of your words is varied, but also practical. Okay, another one I want to give you, I want to talk to you just a little bit about repetition, and then we'll end this. We're always careful. We always say, let's not use the same word 5 times, and that's good advice. All right, you don't want to use that. You don't want to overuse that. There are many words that you don't want to overuse. That, but, and, also, about. There's so many words that you just want to avoid overusing. However, when you are choosing to be mindfully repetitious in your use of words, it's extremely powerful. For instance, let's say that if you're writing a long piece, it might be that you need to use the traditional method of tell your reader what you're going to tell them, and then tell your reader what you told them. Okay, that's a very effective way of using repetition. And there are other ways as well. One of the things that I like to talk about is when you're going to use repetition, just be mindful of how it sounds. Sometimes it's effective to use, rhyming sorts of words, and sometimes it isn't. So repetition is great when it's used as a tool, when you are mindfully choosing to use specific words in a repetitive way or specific phrases in a repetitive way. However, you want to be extremely cautious about simply using the same words over and over and over again. Hi, Yvonne. How good to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this up. I thank you all for being here to visit with me today. I know I had to close, but it's totally gone on in my head. So this is what happens when you're on live. Ah, there you go. Yvonne, thank you. Glad you enjoy the tips. I enjoy giving them. So let's close by finishing up here that we're talking about the rhythm and flow of your writing. Always, always, always listen. Listen to yourself when you're writing. You know what? When I'm typing and writing, sometimes I actually speak the words out loud as I'm typing. When I really get involved in it, or if it's something that I'm really kind of struggling with, I actually speak it out loud. But I always speak the words out loud in my head when I'm writing. And you should too. Be aware of how those words sound to you as you're writing them. And if it sounds good to your ear as a reader, it will sound good to your reader as well. Thank you for joining me again. And this is CaZ, the Writer Success Coach. Please join me anytime at www.thewritersuccesscoach.com and check in. I'll put a link down below also for one of my boot camps so that you can check out the boot camp as well. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.